Welcome back to the channel, man. Welcome back to the podcast. Yo, what we gonna do first, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Like, subscribe, share, help the kid out. You heard? Now, I have not broken down the games from last week. Confession, did not look at most of them games. Did not look at most of the games last week. I apologize. Usually I can give you a great breakdown on most of these teams and shit like that, but you know how we do. If I didn't watch it, I'm not going to go too crazy on it. But I do want to start this episode. Obviously, we're doing the week 7 breakdowns and predictions like we usually do. However, I'm going to start this video telling you the teams that lost and didn't lose, because if you didn't watch the last video, obviously I got the new graphics and whatnot in the video so that while you watching it, my quote the Raven podcast, I got the scores in there, but I'm probably gonna put the scores from the last game in this video also. But before that, for the people who don't watch the video, they just listen to it, I'm gonna go over those games real quick. So Miami lost to Jacksonville 23-20. Green Bay beat Chicago 24-14. Cincinnati murked Detroit 34-11. Houston got murked by Indy 31-3. Los Angeles murked the Giants 38-11. KC murked the Washington no-name football team 31-13. Minnesota and Carolina had a good little game there. Went to overtime 34-28. The Rams got murked by Baltimore 34-6. Arizona murked the Cleveland Browns 37-14. Would have been 37-7 if not for that punk ass Hail Mary. Vegas beat the Denver Broncos 34-24. But I would like to say the Broncos do a lot of scoring and trying hard at the end of games when it no longer matters. But that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to make that point since Vic Fangio like to talk about player safety and shit like that. The Dallas Cowboys made a game out of that New England game for some reason, but they ended up winning at 35-29 when they probably should have ended up beating the fuck out of New England. But Mac Jones had a better game in that game, so I'm proud of him. And Seattle ended up losing to Pittsburgh on Sunday night in a game that was very hard to watch. Now that we done got past. Oh, and Buffalo lost on Monday night to Tennessee, a game that I fell asleep in halfway through the game because of how long I had been up already. But yes, that is the breakdowns. Oh, and Tampa Bay beat Philadelphia. Those are the week 6 games that had taken place rather. And so now we can move on from that. And obviously Denver and Cleveland playing tonight. No Baker midfield. It's very interesting that Baker midfield and Teddy Midwater is both playing against each other tonight. It's midfield not playing tonight actually. Case Keenum in the game. Very tough game to sit and watch all the way through. If you been watching the podcast, you know I watch Cleveland, but I watch Cleveland because I want to I watch Cleveland because I want to watch Baker, because nothing brings me more joy than watching Baker Mayfield overthrow motherfuckers. Nothing brings me more joy. Nothing brings me more joy than seeing Mr. Handoff hand the ball off to his running backs all game, or check down Baker, checking it down all game, screen pass Baker, screen pass. Won't be able to see that tonight. Got to see Case Keenum do the shit because you know Baker's dealing with an arm injury because a jackass don't know how to fall and shit. But you can only watch a game like this for so long when he not playing, because that's who I need to see struggle. But seeing Teddy Midwater dink and dunk and overthrow and shit like that, I'm just not into that. That game, I mean, the Broncos just scored to make it 7-10, but if this podcast is over by the time the game's still on, I'll probably go catch the rest of it, but I doubt it. Very tough game to sit there and watch. Like, the Broncos, I told y'all in the beginning of the season, man, the Broncos was a fraudulent team. They weren't really a good team. They got good pieces here and there, but a team that's led by Teddy Midwater not doing nothing, man. Because eventually, you can't dink and dunk your way to wins once you're playing quarterbacks who can legit carry their team to wins. Like, it's just not gonna happen. And he playing in a division with Derek Carr, Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Herbert. It's a dub. The Broncos are going to finish last in that division. I know they tied right now 3-3 with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they could end up winning this game tonight and move to 4-3. At the end of the season, though, I'm telling you like I've been telling you all season, Teddy Midwater ain't it. That team's finishing in last. Quarterback play has a lot to do with a team. Now listen, you can have teams that don't get great play from the quarterback at all times. Example, Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns made the playoffs last year because of how unbelievably good that running game, that offensive line was, and the defense stepped up when they needed to, and they had a great head coach, and they beat a bad Steelers team. But when it came time, and the Browns others show you a lot of times how great they can be if Baker just pulled his weight. And I think it's real funny that now we starting to blame everybody else but Baker. But now the media, they done started to catch on. Colin Cowherd always done been pretty accurate on Baker. Even he trying to be, a little bit nice, and he trying to give Baker passes and shit. Not me. I'm more so the Marcellus Wiley type thing. I see what Baker is. I've seen what he is. I know what he is. The fact that Cleveland fans keep making up all these stupid ass excuses and keep making, just one excuse after another, man. Shit that don't even make sense. Excuses that don't make sense. Baker really got y'all thinking that Odell Beckham is trash. Now just wait till this motherfucker leave and go to a team with a good quarterback and watch how he go crazy. Then what y'all gonna be saying? Oh, well, he wasn't doing that with us. No, it's because motherfucking Baker's not that guy. Listen, it's cool that he worked good with Jarvis Landry. Sweet. How far has that gotten y'all? It got y'all to the playoffs once. You keep saying, and I swear I say this shit in this podcast all the time, bro. You keep telling me, Brown fans, that we've never been this good and this successful until Baker. And I keep telling you, no, you're a bozo. You refuse to give anybody else on that team credit because you like your quarterback. You like your quarterback because he cocky. He act like he play a different position. He don't act like a quarterback. He don't carry himself like a quarterback. Baker Mayfield is a forced leader. It always look like he forcing himself on the team and shit like that. Baker Mayfield is the worst player on that team as far as your top players and whatnot. He's not even a top player. It's just when people talk about the team, the last person that has anything to do with this team's success is Baker. And it's funny now that when he can't carry his own weight and everybody else struggling here and there, everybody get to blame but Baker. I just think that's real crazy. Lamar Jackson got all these injuries. No team got more injuries on guys on IR than the Ravens had. Lamar Jackson got this team at 4-0. They could easily be got this team at 5-1. They could easily be 6-0 right now. Derek Carr carrying his team through this controversy. You got all these other quarterbacks who can carry their teams, but Baker can't. And I don't want to hear nobody be stupid enough to say, well, look at what the Chiefs doing right now. I promise you the Chiefs are going to finish over 500. And the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes has already proven he can carry that team. Come on, let's not be stupid. Josh Allen has carried that team the last 2 years. Now, listen, I agree. Josh Allen had a good defense working with him the last couple of years and whatnot. But still, Josh Allen clearly can carry that team when asked to carry it. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. Look at the quarterbacks that Baker Mayfield is going to be competing against over the next couple of years. Because, listen, I just want people to understand, I want the Cleveland Browns to re-sign that motherfucker. I want to play him for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years in the AFC North. I want to play him. I pray they re-sign and overpay his ass. Because I know what Baker is. Now, I see a lot of the media members starting to say shit that I have been already saying for a while. Like, I compare Baker. I said, to me, Baker is a Kirk Cousins or a Jared Goff. Just a slightly better version of him. Okay, I do not think he is better than Kirk Cousins. If I had to choose between Kirk and Baker, I would definitely take Kirk Cousins for the simple reason, to me, Kirk Cousins can actually throw the ball when asked to. It would be amazing to me to see what Kirk Cousins would do in an offense that required him to throw way more than he passes. Because I think one of the problems with the Vikings is they ask him to hand the ball off way too much. And I get wanting to run a run-heavy offense, even though in 2021, run-heavy offenses ain't the ones that's winning championships, especially when you're not running for the type of yards that Baltimore and Cleveland run for. Like, it'd be different if you was running for them type of yards, because I get Cleveland and Baltimore doing that type of shit. They pick up big numbers on the ground. Like, that's different. Those two teams is anomalies. That's how those two teams could possibly win like that, even though you see Baltimore going more to a pass-heavy team. Cleveland can't go pass-heavy. because they best players are running backs and their quarterback cannot carry the load, bro. You done seen it multiple times, bro. He can't get it done. The play calling by Kevin Stefanski should tell you how he feel about Baker Mayfield, bro. Like, come on. But listen, I understand Cleveland fans gonna keep capping for him. The media gonna keep making excuses for him. The man was a number 1 fucking pick in the draft. That means as soon as Roger Goodell asked for the first team to turn in a pick, Baker was that person that got called out first. Shouldn't it be some expectations that come with that? Like, y'all keep wanting to tell me that, oh, he done had multiple head coaches. It's a lot of motherfucking players that had different head coaches, bro, and still show promise and show that they are great players. The problem that y'all is having is y'all not real. Y'all watch games but don't watch it. Y'all watching it for the win. I'm watching it, breaking it down to see everything that's going on in the game. It's a difference. When you only watching your team to win, you gonna of course blame everything on everybody else and shit like that because you're not truly paying attention. But if you look at these games, when Cleveland went up 14 against the Chargers, why did they stop scoring? Okay, our defense gave up 2 touchdowns. It shouldn't matter. We should still be up big if our offense is still scoring. The problem, Kevin Stefanski took the ball out of the running back's hands because he felt like their lead was big enough to let Baker work. But Baker keep overthrowing motherfuckers, underthrowing motherfuckers, and y'all want to blame everybody else but Baker. I'm just telling you right now, it'd be amazing what would happen if Cleveland actually had a competent quarterback so that y'all Cleveland fans could stop making all these fucking excuses and you could see, visually and physically see, the difference between a good quarterback in that offense and Baker Mayfield. Y'all gonna lose Odell eventually. Y'all probably gonna lose Njoku. Soon as you pay soon as you pay Baker, you should get ready to start losing pieces, right? Now, how the fuck do you think he gonna win when he losing these pieces that make them a great team? But when they pay him, they gonna start losing some of those top pieces. You expect him to carry that team then? That's wild to me. And listen, I'm all for quarterbacks can grow and get better. Baker Mayfield is so far behind the 8 ball compared to all these other quarterbacks. And I'm not talking about the Bradys and the Rodgers. I'm talking about the young quarterbacks in his that he gonna be competing against for the next couple years. That's who I'm talking about. The Joe Burrows and Lamar Jackson in his own fucking division. I'm talking about these quarterbacks. The AFC got a lot of good young quarterbacks, great young quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield so far behind them motherfuckers, but it makes no sense to keep capping for him. You can see, like the motherfucker played against Herbert and Kyler Murray in back-to-back weeks, and you can see the difference in these quarterbacks, bro. So, hey, if you're a Cleveland fan, keep on capping, man. Cap your heart out, man. But all I'm telling you is Baker Mayfield ain't taking you to a Super Bowl, bro. And you could get happy and you can do all this little fantasy dreaming and shit off of the playoff run that you went on last year. I said in the beginning of the season, bro, they crowning Cleveland for what? Cleveland ain't had to prove nothing over the last couple of years. They've been a bad team. They finally have a good year because I don't know if people forgot or not, but Cleveland was supposed to make the playoffs the year before last year and they missed the playoffs. So people could keep capping and doing all this, the fans and all this for Baker. As soon as you sit down, start to pay attention. I saw a Cleveland fan say the other day, man, I'm sick of these fucking excuses for Baker, bro. Just win a fucking game like Lamar Jackson. That's a Cleveland fan who wrote that. He was like, just win a fucking game like Lamar Jackson do for the Ravens. Even he getting to the point where he can no longer cap for Baker. And I done seen some of the sports media in Cleveland talk about Baker recently. They split now. Them motherfuckers ain't capping full time for him no more, bro. They looking at Lamar Jackson saying, look at everything this motherfucker don't have. And look at how much better he playing than Baker. This motherfucker was a 32nd pick in the draft. How is he this much better than Baker Mayfield, bro? You can say whatever you want to. It can be work ethic, natural ability. I don't know. But I know Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and them guys is in complete different stratospheres than Baker Mayfield, bro. You got some people who don't want to be mean and be like, well, Baker's not a bad quarterback. I mean, yes, he is based on what you need him to do. He is a bad quarterback. He is an average to below average quarterback, bro. It is what it is. And now he hurt. And it's so funny to me because I told you Baker Mayfield is not, he don't act as a quarterback. And I could care less how people act in their personalities and whatnot. The only thing I would say is I can't have quarterbacks, my quarterback, taking shots at nobody on the opposing team. I can't have him talking like he the biggest jock walking around the school. Because at the quarterback position, bro, I need my quarterback to uphold a certain standard, bro. Now understand this. I'm not telling him to not be himself and shit like that. I'm not saying that. I'm not telling him to dress a certain type of way, act a certain type of way, talk a certain type of way. What I'm asking you is to be professional as my quarterback when you're in the media. All Baker fucking do is bitch, complain, blame other people, bitch more, complain more, and shit like that, and give y'all the same little cliche ass quotes from movies and put it in repeat. That's it. And y'all keep getting on these airwaves and shit and capping for them, defending them on Twitter, defending them in the YouTube comments and all that type of shit. I will post a YouTube comment or a Twitter comment about Baker just to see the motherfuckers get hyped up, bro. Because it's so funny to me. Because if I go back to these comments in a year or a couple months, I want to see where these motherfuckers who cap for Baker at then. Like I said, I understand you wanting to defend your quarterback. I get that. But what is it going to do for you to continuously lie for this man? Like, if y'all keep lying for him and saying how much y'all love Baker, like the dumbass Baker chants in Cleveland, that's going to end up forcing this organization to re-sign a motherfucker who they know is not carrying them to a Super Bowl. They know that. They doubt that he can get them to a playoffs. And they got to play Lamar and Joe Burrow twice a year. And Pittsburgh will not be down forever. I done said multiple times I think Pittsburgh not dead yet. But I'm telling you, to me, the worst team in the division is Cleveland. Because Cleveland has the worst quarterback in the division. And it's as simple as that. People say all they want to about Ben. Listen, the Steelers game was a tough watch the other night. I agree. That was a tough fucking watch. Big Ben and them dinking and dunking and barely being able to score and go up and down the field. That was hard to watch. And I'm starting to lose a bit of faith in them being me thinking that they can overcome some of this, because that offense looks atrocious. Like, you really need Najee to be dominant for that offense to have a chance. But with Baker turning the ball over and doing the shit he doing, like, it's very hard for me to see Cleveland not finishing in last place again. Now the Bengals and the Ravens and and Pittsburgh gonna have to really have a fall from grace, but I don't see that happening. I trust Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow too much. Obviously, I trust Lamar Jackson way more than I trust Joe Burrow, but still, Joe Burrow is a great player in my opinion. Jamar Chase, great player. All these dudes who was drafted high and making a value, having instant impacts and making differences for their team, and you just sit there and look at Baker, who was a number one pick, drafted higher than all of them, and look what the fuck he doing. It's just crazy to me. Dude had the perfect situation. Now all those pieces and shit getting hurt, and now he got to carry his team. Couldn't do it. Now he hurt, and it's gonna be bad that he hurt. Cause listen, he ain't got to worry about Case Keenum taking his fucking job, but he definitely gonna have to worry in the future about them trying to go and get another quarterback. Now, I'm just telling you what's up. He better pray Case Keenum don't end up balling out while he got his starting job. But that's all I'm gonna say about Cleveland, man. I was just wanted to bring that up because I was watching that game. But starting off this week, man, you got Washington going to Green Bay to take on the Packers. And I know it took a long time for us to finally get to the first game. I didn't even really talk about Teddy Midwater and the Broncos right there. I just had to have that little diatribe right there, bro, about Baker Mayfield. You see it on the bar on the side of the video, bro. Baker was a topic that was going to get talked about, so you can go ahead and check that one off. But, Washington heading to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Now, listen, Washington actually played pretty decent against the Chiefs. The problem is Washington just not that team. Like, it's gonna be hard you can hang. If the Chiefs was playing against any other team last week, a good team, they probably lose that game. But it's Washington, bro. And I think, and I've been saying this for a minute too, Ron Rivera is a good head coach. Ron Rivera is also overrated. Two things can be true at one time. He can be a good coach and he can be an overrated head coach. And I think Ron Rivera is an overrated head coach and it's really funny to me when you see coaches have a great roster and then you see them go to a roster that's not as great, not as bad either, but not as great, and to see what they do. And it's very interesting to me because Carolina had a lot of studs on defense, and Bradbury, who don't intercept the ball a lot, and I don't even think Bradbury is a top 5 corner, but a lot of people think he is a top 5 corner. And you got James Bradbury, who was on that Carolina defense. You got Thomas Davis, who was on that defense. Greg Hardy at one point in time was balling on that defense. I know people don't like Greg Hardy, but when he was balling, he was on Carolina's defense. Luke Kuechly, one of the greatest middle linebackers of all time, was on that defense. I already said Thomas. Charles Johnson was on that defense. You had all these different type of great Carolina Panther players on that defense, and then you had Cam Newton, who carried that offense most of the time with Greg Olsen, a decent offensive line. But like I said, the fall for Cam was that the refs just let him go out there and get obliterated on a weekly basis. But all that talent, and y'all gave Ron Rivera way more credit than you should have. Like, that's my biggest thing when I look at some of these coaches. For some of these teams that's got talent, you can see the difference that the head coach make. You can see head coaches turn players into studs. So when I say like a great head coach that I can't question, I'm looking at a Kyle Shanahan. That motherfucker had Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback, and them motherfuckers went to a Super Bowl. He was the coordinator for the Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl. They have not been good since he left. So I'm just saying, you can see the change and the difference that Kyle Shanahan make in the offense compared to what the fuck was Ron Rivera really. I mean, how could we really give him that much credit for a bunch of dudes who was already studs before Ron got there? And some of the dudes who got there when he got there was still, like I said, studs already. So you didn't want to give Cam the credit, but you gave it all to you didn't want to give other people that you didn't know their names for the credit, but you gave it to Ron Rivera for some reason and thought that he was going to turn this Washington team into an absolute stud, when in actuality, he's a good coach, not an unbelievably great coach, or to me, not even a great coach. Yeah, he won head coach of the year, I think, twice. Go back and look at them Carolina teams, bro. And look at all those different Pro Bowl level players on that team. Look at all those Hall of Fame level players on that team. You want to know what Ron Rivera couldn't never do? Figure out how to get that offense going. That's why you get rid of a Steve Smith Sr. and he go and ball out in Baltimore his first year leaving, but could have been doing that with Carolina because Ron Rivera couldn't figure out how to get that to work. You can blame Cam Newton, you can blame everybody else because that's a popular thing to do when you like one guy and don't really like another one. It's a popular thing to do. Ron Rivera went through cancer diagnosis in the battle with that. He gonna have a lot of fans. I'm not hating on Ron Rivera, nothing like that. I'm just trying to break this fan built mindset that people have, because I already believe that fans look at athletes as slaves, and fans dehumanize athletes the more and more by the day. And one of the ways that you keep dehumanizing is we like to say, oh, they shouldn't get all the credit, but for some reason Ron Rivera got a ton of credit for the shit that happened in Carolina, when in actuality Carolina had a lot of fucking great players, bro. They didn't need much coaching. It's like the dude on the Cleveland Browns said, the running back coach for the Cleveland Browns, I believe he is, or either offensive coordinator, but I think it's the running back coach, who said, yeah, this is the first time in like a couple years I have to coach guys tonight. Because he had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt for so long. You don't really have to do too much coaching when you got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I'm pretty sure they can take it from wherever you leave it off. You don't have to do a ton of shit when you got those two studs in the backfield. It's like when you got Aaron Rodgers. You ain't got to do too much when you got Aaron Rodgers. Just do enough to where he don't have to do too much also. Carry your weight, he will more than definitely carry his. That's the type of balance you want with a head coach. I never thought Carolina had that balance. I thought that they gave Ron Rivera just far too much credit, when in actuality, Cam Newton was carrying that offense, and Luke Kuechly and them boys was stacked on defense. Yeah, Ron Rivera played a good part as a motivational coach, and he probably had a lot to do with the defensive side of it. But to give him so much of that credit, and now you're seeing what he really is, because that Washington team is not depleted of talent. They have a great receiver over there in McLaurin. I am not sold on their quarterback. I'm going to just go ahead and say that right there. I know a lot of people like these late round picks, the Gardner Minshews, the Tyler Heineke's, who come in and play decent. And you know, but when I've seen them play, to me, it's a lot of dink and dunks. And to me, that's the one thing. You see a lot of these teams that have bad offensive coordinators or bad coordinators, period. That's the offense you're going to see a lot. You're going to see a lot of the screen passes, a lot of the receiver screens, a lot of short dig routes, just stuff like that to work off everything. When you see other offenses that can just, do whatever, whenever. That's the type of offense they run over there in Washington, which is why I'm not really sold on that quarterback. And people like to blame the Washington defense is not great. obviously. But maybe that comes from y'all overhyping them motherfuckers in the offseason because you overhyped Ron Rivera and what he could do with this team. Listen, the NFL a year-to-year team, a year-to-year type shit. You can't expect teams to be great last year to come in and be great this year. I understand why people do that because in other sports we do it. But the NFL not the same shit. Now, the top teams with the great quarterbacks, yeah, I understand expecting a lot out of them. But let me just tell you, back in the day, a couple years ago, when Aaron Rodgers was consistently taking that Packer team to the playoffs and losing in the first and second round, do you realize how bad that defense was? Do you realize that nobody ever really talked about how bad that defense was? Because they expected Aaron Rodgers to still carry this atrocious team to the playoffs every year. Now people will blame him for not having the rings when you go back and look at it. Bro, Clay Matthews was toast after a certain point. They moved this man, which I don't really blame Clay because yes, he was hurt a lot. Why would you move a pass rushing linebacker to the Mike linebacker? And that's basically meaning he got to cover guys now. That's not what Clay do. AJ Hawk is that they basically did that after AJ Hawk went to Cincinnati, but that's what I'm saying. You can't expect a team to come in every single year and be great, especially when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. Quarterbacks make you think that because, like I said, the Packers constantly get to the playoffs, but that defense is atrocious. Nobody held them responsible. If that defense was better and people had actually noted that going into the season, put some more pressure on the Packers instead of just blaming it all on Aaron Rodgers, he would probably have more rings because that team would have had to go and fix that defense. They allowed Aaron Rodgers because they knew he was a huge Band-Aid to cover up for it. Why do you think Tom finally got out of New England? He was tired of being a Band-Aid for offense that, for one, was not great as far as like play calling. I will say that to the cows come home. Josh McDaniels is not a great offensive play caller. He had Tom Brady because you see what the offensive play calling is now. He had to switch that shit up last week against the Cowboys. But, hey, I'm getting off on a tirade. For the Washington football team, though, and the Packers, bro, I like the Packers defense more and more each week. I think for one, the Packers defense the Packers defense done a great job this year of staying in games and not getting their asses whooped like they would in years prior. Now, they also done a good job of not getting ran out of the building. Packers defenses loved getting ran out of the building. Like, they loved it. They couldn't do shit. I still remember vividly Aaron Rodgers going to the playoffs with all these atrocious run defensive. They couldn't stop the pass either. But as far as the run, bro, the 49ers is the bane of their existence. With Kaepernick and now with Shanahan, they have torched that. It's probably no team in the league that's done took up more rushing yards on the Packers than the 49ers over the last couple years. And you could probably look that up, and I would probably be right on that stat, to be honest with you. But we're not talking about the 49ers. We're talking about these Packers. So I like this defense. I like what I done seen from the Packers. Obviously, you got Aaron Rodgers. I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. I think Pat McAfee and them boys starting to regurgitate Aaron Rodgers a little bit too much. Like, I do wish they pull his dick a little bit up out his mouth. But, hey, there's no hate. I love Pat McAfee in that show, and I love Aaron Rodgers. That is no shade whatsoever. I just feel like every 2 minutes of the day we don't have to talk about Aaron Rodgers. That's it. But that's going to be perceived as hate. I know it. That's just a little bit of critique. Who am I to critique it? I'm just saying, probably shouldn't have said nothing at all. I did. But I'm taking the Packers to win this game. I don't believe in... Listen, I just tell you right now, it's hard for me to pick teams when they're going up against a team with a quarterback. If your team doesn't have a quarterback and you going up against a team with a quarterback, it's very hard for me to take your team to win that game. Because I'm always going to lean towards, if shit get rough and teams struggling, I still trust the quarterback that can pick up his team and put him on his back and get the job done. So, I'm going to take the Packers. Now, this was interesting. I think this will finally be a blowout. I think the Packers will actually blow out the Washington football this week. The Packers, I don't think, blow too many people out. And if they did, I've been missing it because I feel like I've been watching the Packers pretty close the last couple weeks. I think they're going to end up blowing this one out. I think Aaron Rodgers definitely done came down from his MVP year. But like I said, you can't expect players to, if I'm an MVP this year, come on, you expect me to do the exact same or better next year? To me, that's just crazy. You always take a little bit of a step, not necessarily back. You just calm down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I do think the Packers win this game, and I think they're going to win it handily. They're going to be in Green Bay, so that's big. And I just don't think Washington is a good team. I don't think it's a good team. And another thing is, when you have a team that's not great, especially when you don't have a great quarterback, that means it's time for the offensive coordinator to be one of the best parts of the team. Like, when you don't have a great quarterback, you got to have a coordinator that can just absolutely scheme the shit up. Like a Kyle Shanahan, who can scheme the fuck up out of offense, don't matter who and the thing. Even though it's hard for him to scheme up with that rookie in there, Trey Lance. But that's what I'm saying. I don't see that with Washington. They struggle on offense here and there. They struggle on defense. To me, the Packers got it. They got a good running core with Dillon and Aaron Jones, who've been hooping this year. Obviously, I love Devontae Adams. I think the Packers need to go make a trade for a tight end. They should have went and traded for Zach Ertz. But I really think the Packers should go and make a trade for Odell Beckham Jr. They need to go make a trade for somebody, because when they start to play against these defenses that are going to be better at shutting down a one receiver basically thing, because Randall Cobb and them boys, Valdez Scantling, they good players, but they don't put fear in the heart of opposing defenses. And some of these defenses are going in the game against Aaron Rodgers saying, yeah, we respect the man, but we don't respect none of these other players except for Devontae Adams. We double him and handle everything else. So I really think the Packers doing him a big disservice, not going out and getting him another weapon. But hey, I'm not the Packers GM, but I am taking the Packers to win that game this week. So next we got KC taking on Tennessee. This is going to be a long show, obviously, as you know. It's already at the 30-minute mark, and we only went over, 2 teams? But KC taking on Tennessee this week. This is going to be in Tennessee. Tennessee had a big win on Monday night against the Bills. I took the Bills to win that game. But a lot of that had to do with exactly what I just said. I'm going to take a good quarterback every day to carry his team over a team that don't necessarily have a good quarterback. But that's got a lot. Derrick Henry's a bad man. King Henry is what I call him, man. And he balled out Monday. And I said for the Titans to win that game, because it was a winnable game, but for them to win that game, it would have to be Derrick Henry going stupid. And I didn't think he was going to be able to do it against that defense of the Bills. I was clearly wrong. He absolutely balled out. Credit to him. He's going to be on one of the slides in the video for the notable ballers this week. But, so shout out to him. He balled the fuck out. And Josh Allen, I think every team in the NFL is a beatable team. But every team this year, to me, looked beatable. The Ravens don't look beatable. The Bills don't look beatable. I think the Bills was the last of the teams that looked as unbeatable. Obviously, because to me, even the Cardinals look beatable. The Cardinals looked very beatable against the Browns. The Browns just wasn't the team that was going to do it because they got Baker Mayfield, obviously. But every team to me don't look beatable. So I'm not surprised that the Bills lost. But the Bills you would say the Bills look beatable because you would doubt the people they done beat. Not necessarily because of anything they've done. Because the Bills, to me, was the closest thing to perfect in the NFL so far, in my opinion. Like, they looked great all year. And you could say, yeah, they played some bad teams, but they also went into KC and beat the shit out of Kansas City on their own turf. So this was a shocker. But this type of win just show you how resilient and tough Tennessee is, and they always going to be there. Tennessee going to win the division, for one. It's a bad division. They already have 4 wins. They got 2 full wins over the Colts. Now, listen, the Colts can get it together, but I just don't see the Colts ended up ultimately winning that division because, listen, Carson Wentz don't beat good quarterbacks. It just is what it is, man. I hate it to accept it because I was a Carson Wentz fan on the bandwagon, walking to him, Wentz and all that. And I even think the way he was done in Philadelphia was dirty. I mean, you got players building shrines for Nick Foles and shit. Like, I just think they did him completely dirty in Philly. However, I don't think when he play against these big teams, man, he got to be extra big, man. At too many times, he come up extra small. So that's why I think Tennessee ultimately could win that division, because the only way you beat Tennessee, or I could see Tennessee really falling off, is if that run game just disappeared. Now, listen, I believe a team can stop that run game when they have to, but during the season, I believe Derrick Henry will ball out. He could break Eric Dickerson's record. I don't think he will. I really don't like how they run with Derrick Henry because even though, that's the best part of the team, blah, blah, blah. Imagine how great Derrick Henry would be if he played with a team that had an actual great offense other than just running the fucking ball 50 times a fucking game. Like, we could keep saying Tannehill is good and this and that, but the way they call the game tells you that they don't believe Tannehill is a top quarterback. It's a lot of play action. It's a lot of screens and stuff. Yeah, Tannehill can get you here and there, but for the most part, that offense relies heavily on running the ball. So when that run out, what do? This gonna be a good. Now I'm taking them to beat Kansas City, and that's a shocker pick. But the reason I'm taking them to beat Kansas City is because I think they're gonna. Now I done seen Kansas City stop them from running the ball with my own two eyes. But this ain't the playoffs. And even though Kansas City really do need this fucking win, it still ain't the playoffs. KC coming off of a... How big would it be for Tennessee to beat KC and the Bills in the same week? That'd be nuts, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say that that's exactly what's about to happen. Kansas City is... Tennessee about to put themselves on the map. I think they're going to beat them. And it's going to be a close game. But the reason I think they're going to ultimately beat them is because that KC defense is bad. And the way the Titans offense run is very much can beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a game like this. Unless Derrick Henry is still tired from Monday night. That's the only way. But then again, I still think it'll be kind of close. This is the funny thing. Tennessee's defense ain't really that to laugh about either. I can see Pat Mahomes torture there, but Pat Mahomes, I think they're going to have a good game. But Pat Mahomes and these turnovers, man, these bozo interceptions and shit, just go down, bro. Just take the sack. Like, he throwing some of these goofy-ass interceptions and shit now, man. And listen, you can beat the bad teams when you do that. But you see them starting to pay against the good teams when he do that. So, it don't matter who you play on defense. You have Pat Mahomes doing goofy shit like that, you could lose. It just based off of, because, listen, I love to pick KC blindly just because of reputation, but I'm just going off of what I've been seeing this season. And I think this is a game that Tennessee could win, especially since it's in Tennessee. Now, I don't know if Julio going to be playing. Probably not, because he fucked up his hamstring on Monday. He made an insane catch Monday. And I don't even know if A.J. Brown fully healthy. But I just think that the way they run that offense, they'll give it to Derrick Henry 40 fucking times a game if they have to. So I'm going to take KC winning this game just slightly. I don't think it's going to be a blowout or nothing like that. And hell, like I said, this is a hard one to pick because I want to pick KC, but I cannot pick that defense to beat this type of run team, bro. So I'm going to take KC. I'm going to take Tennessee to beat KC in Tennessee this week. The next game on the docket, Atlanta-Miami. This is going to be a tough game to watch if you one of them. Well, Atlanta can score points, I guess. Or they throw the ball. They do a lot of gathering of yards that don't ultimately matter. I was looking at the records, and I think Atlanta had 2 wins, and I was shocked. I was like, damn, I thought they would at least had 3 or 4 wins by now. But, hey, Atlanta haven't really been good since Kyle Shanahan. They haven't been good since Kyle Shanahan, bro. And what's crazy to me is, so obviously I already knew they wasn't gonna move off of Matt Ryan. That's what do you call him? That's been the franchise guy for a minute. Like, obviously you remember Michael Vick, but really before him you don't remember the quarterback before him because he'd been tenured there for so long. So I knew they was gonna try to make it work with the quarterback, and that's respect to him. That's what you should do for a veteran quarterback like that, especially since Matt Ryan don't really look like he done lost it. Like, he ain't out there looking like Big Ben or Drew Brees. You know what I'm saying? Matt Ryan can still go up the field with the ball, even though I don't think Matt Ryan is that accurate when he going up the field with the ball, and sometimes his shit can flutter on him. And you didn't never really pay too much attention to it in the past because Matt Ryan rarely ever played without all-pro offensive weapons. Like, man had Tony Gonzalez, Roddy White, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. Like, the man that had good play, Devontae Freeman when he was in his prime. Like, the man that had a lot of great weapons since he been there. So it's interesting now that Matt Ryan is not a quarterback that can lift up a team over the sum of their parts, it seemed like. And then you really go back to it in the past. I mean, Matt Ryan and them boys, it wasn't like they was making the playoffs on a yearly basis before they had made that Super Bowl run. That Super Bowl run really came out of nowhere to most people. I mean, their offense had always been good, but the Super Bowl we thought they was going to get to was the one when they had Tony Gonzalez. That man came back for a year just to get to the Super Bowl, and they didn't even make the fucking playoffs that year, I believe. So that was always tough to see Tony go out like that. But the Atlanta Falcons, man, the defense bad again this year. No shock there. The offense is what's trying to keep them afloat, and they are paying for taking a rookie tight end that early in the draft, especially when you have so many other needs on other parts of the team. Like that, to me, it's just I always find it crazy when, like, because that's a tight end, bro. And I understand all the hype that they was giving Kyle Pitts before the draft and shit like that, but that's a tight end. You need defensive players. You need to help your offensive line. You knew you was finna get rid of Julio. So I don't really understand going out and getting a tight end that early in the draft. That's a pick that could have went to another team that needed that was in a position to take him. I think that's a problem with the Falcons. Like, the Falcons been known for offense these last couple of years, but Jesus fucking Christ, when you gonna start doing something for the defense? All your good defensive players constantly getting hurt. Over the last couple of years, all your great defensive players either busted out as far as like was good for a year or two and then flamed out, I should say. Either they kept getting hurt. Like, what's going on? Why you don't go and start replenishing that? And maybe late in the draft they started fixing guys, but I just feel like when you got that type of pick that early in the draft, why would you waste that on a tight end? That's not Gronk. That's not, I don't know. Gronk wasn't even taken that high. So to me, that was a weird pick for the Falcons. Does nothing to help this team this year. This team's probably going to finish last in the division. Because it don't look like the Saints, even though I don't think the Saints is that great, it don't look like the Saints will be as bad as the Falcons will be this year. So that's just a weird pick to me that they had took him. But they play against Miami, and Miami probably done been the worst team in the league this year other than the Lions. But the funny thing about I saw a report where it say Miami thinking about trading. They might end up having a trade for Tua and Deshaun Watson by the end of the week or some shit like that. And I saw a picture on Twitter where this dude was like, this Tua was sitting there thinking to himself, damn, bro, they would rather have a dude that's got like 23 sexual assault cases over me. So that's weird. But if you take away them sexual assault cases for Deshaun Watson, yeah, I would rather have Deshaun Watson also. But if Deshaun Watson not playing this year, I don't really understand too. But nah, because if he not guilty and these cases blow over and he can play again, yeah, it's ultimately going to be a big play. That's going to be a big move for Miami. So if Deshaun Watson is able to play again, then that'll be a big move for Miami if it happened. But if it don't, and you stuck with Tua, then, hey, I always think it's funny because I'm not really big on left-handed quarterbacks. And I think you do got to call. It's a lot of shit that really changed when you playing with a left-handed quarterback. And it feels sometimes like Tua doing a lot of, for one, you got to pray Tua can stay fucking healthy. Like, I think Tua done been hurt every single year he done been in the league so far. Maybe not last year. I'm not for sure. He came into the league with people thinking he was going to be hurt, with injury concerns, I should say. But I'm not really going to go too ham on Tua. I think Tua and them got weapons over there, too. I don't really know why Miami playing so bad, man. I mean, people like Brian Flores. People supposedly like the defense in the beginning of the year. One of the defensive players was trying to get paid like he's supposed to, the cornerback, Xavier Howard. And, man, 1-5. And I think it's going to be 1-6. I'm going to take the Falcons to get their third win of the season in this game. It's going to be in Miami. I just think Miami look hopeless right now. Like, they're going to have to pick themselves up off the mat in order to do something. I mean, when you look worse than the Jags, the Giants, and the Lions, I mean, good Lord. They look worse than the Lions. And the only team that them beat. And it's very funny to me that a lot of these teams that are bad, they only wins is against, like, basically each other. Because the Jags' first win was against Miami, another one-win team. One of the Patriots' wins was against the Jets. Zach Wilson. So that's always interesting. But I am gonna take the Falcons to win this. And if the Falcons can't win this one, I mean, I know they ain't at home and shit, but Jesus Christ, man, if the Falcons can't figure out a way to get this game to keep themselves in that division, like, cause obviously it look like the Bucks running away with that division, and it's very possible that no team in that division make the wild card of the playoffs. But it's 3 slots in that wild card now, so hey, if the Falcons can just pick themselves off the mat and do something, they could compete in this division. But like I said, it's gonna be hard to make the playoffs over there in the NFC with all those good teams in the division with the Rams. And hey, you really lucked up in the fact that the Seahawks struggling this year, to be honest, and the 49ers. So the Falcons got to do something. So I got to take them to win this game, man, just to believe that they still got some type of fight in them and they're not throwing away another year. So I'm going to take the Falcons to win that one. Then the next game, you got the return. Zach Wilson gets his second shot. You see it on the side of the thing. Jets go to New England. Now, Zach Wilson was atrocious his first time against New England. Bad. And I'm not really trying to hear, oh, well, rookie quarterback struggle against Belichick, because David Mills had a pretty good game against him, and David Mills is not even a good quarterback. But I'm getting to the point where it's kind of hard for me to keep capping for Zach if he don't make some type of improvement. Like, bro, can we turn down the interceptions? Like I said, I think the man done thrown an interception in every fucking game he done played so far this year, except for one. Can we please stop turning the ball over? So now, listen, like I said, he don't really got a ton of weapons to work with, and I also don't think the Patriots is as talented as a lot of people would think they is. Them tight ends ain't making that much of a difference. However, I'm going to take the Patriots to win this one again because, for one, they at home. They blasted them in New York. I don't know why I would take them to win in New England. But I do think this will be a closer game. Now, this was going to be interesting. This could be last time it was a blowout and Mac Jones didn't have to do shit because Zach Wilson gave the ball away 4 times. If Zach Wilson can control himself in this game, just take what the fucking defense give him, make the big throws when you have to make them, this could be a competitive game. If Josh McDaniels call the same booty-ass play calls he been calling all year. If they call the game the way he basically called it against the against the Cowboys, there's a chance he can win. If you get if you get Mac Jones taking his chances up the field and taking his shot, stop trying to baby him and protect him, there's a good chance that this could actually end up being an ass whooping. That's if they call the game like that. I don't believe they will call a full game like that, which is why I believe that if it's a blowout, it'll be because Zach Wilson play like shit. But if he don't play like shit, this will be a close game. And nothing the Patriots done this year that can show me that they could that I shouldn't believe that this can be a close game if Zach Wilson don't just give them the ball multiple times. I'm very aware that if Zach Wilson come into this game just turning the ball over left and right, yeah, it's a dub early. If he does not do that, though, this could be a close game. But like I said, the caveat is Josh McDaniels got to call that goofy-ass game plan for it to be a close game also. But like I said, if he actually put some creativity into that game calling and shit like this, the Patriots should win this game. But the Jets defense, I like the Jets defense. Obviously, I'm a CJ Mosley fan. I think the Jets have a lot of promise. But Zach Wilson cannot go out there turning the ball over. But I'm taking the Patriots in this game. I want to take the Jets, but I'm not. I'm taking the Patriots in this game. Carolina, New York. Now, listen. The Vikings. I picked the Carolina Panthers to beat the Vikings last week, even though I kept going into saying, like, this is a game that Carolina could definitely lose because Sam Darnold could lose in this game, and Kirk Cousins do have those big games here and there, so it's very possible they could win it. It was a lot of things because I thought them teams was evenly matched teams. And, I mean, hell, the Carolina Panthers made it a great game at the end, getting it into overtime and all that. But here we go again. I'm taking Carolina to win this fucking game. Now, New York still does not have. They have Daniel Jones back, but I'm not a Daniel Jones dude. I don't think Daniel Jones is good. I think he turns the ball over way too much. Y'all gave this man Danny Dimes. I don't know how he was allowed to get that nickname based off of his resume right now, but that's neither here nor there. Carolina should win this game. Yes, it's in Green Bay. Green Bay. Yes, it's in New York, the New Meadowlands. Or I think that's actually New Jersey, but it's in the home. The Giants is the home team. The Giants got whooped last week by the Rams. Now, I know the Rams is a different team than the Panthers, but the Panthers have a decent defense. I would like to believe, even though they've been giving up a lot of points the last couple weeks, the Panthers have a good defense. They running game, I don't know how good it was last week. They played good the one week Christian wasn't there. Cannot really remember how great the run was last week. But Sam Darnold has to go out there and execute the game plan. Cannot be turning the ball over, fumbles, picks. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. Because, listen, I think it's going to be hard for the Panthers to lose this game. But the reality is the Panthers are cursed. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you do a player the way the Panthers decided to do Cam Newton and basically just throw him to the curb, not give him a chance to sign with a team when they knew they was going to get rid of him and all that type of shit. When you do a quarterback like that, instead of the way the Falcons are doing Matt Ryan or the way Baltimore did Joe Flacco, give them respect and grace on their way out, or continue to do stuff to try to get the most out of that guy who is loyal to your team and so good for your team for so long. When you do a player the way Carolina did the Cam Newton, or the way what's this team, or the way the Lions did Calvin Johnson, this is the type of shit you should expect. So the Panthers are cursed until they forgive Cam Newton. Until they publicly apologize and acknowledge how they did Cam Newton, the Panthers aren't going to win. You got racist ass Terry Bradshaw talking about some fucking, and listen, Terry Bradshaw's probably not a racist, but he's definitely a dickhead for saying that the best quarterback in franchise history might have been Sam Darnold. How can you say something like that off of what he did in New York? And that's my problem. You really gave all of that blame for that shit that happened in New York to everybody but Sam Darnold. And that only happens for white quarterbacks. Because God forbid Lamar Jackson was in that situation. They're not giving Lamar Jackson wins and they criticize him. Sam Darnold's not a winner. And he gets excuse after excuse. As does Baker. As does a lot of the white quarterbacks that they like. The white knights. But listen, this is a winnable game for Carolina. This is not fuck a winnable game. This is a game that they're supposed to win. Carolina want to stay in this division race. They want to keep trying to make this wild card because they've been making a wild card. They're not winning the division. Tampa Bay is winning that division. If you want to make the wild card, this is a game that you got to win, Carolina. This is a game that you have to win. Go on the road, take care of business against the fucking Giants, bro. It's the Giants. They don't have Saquon Barkley. I also believe that they don't have Kenny Golladay. I wonder how Kenny Golladay feeling now that he didn't take a contract with Baltimore and chose to sign with Daniel Jones. That I don't know what he could have been listening to in the media or what his team could have been telling. That's definitely signing for money and not signing to win, because it's no way you sign with them to play with Daniel Jones over Lamar Jackson, bro. So for all those players, because I had saw a report that was like from the dude on ESPN. I can't even remember his name at the moment, but he was the dude who said that teams was like they figured out Lamar. Now they talking about it's a high school offense and shit like that. Have you seen Cleveland play or the Jacksonville play? Like what are you talking about? Cincinnati runs a college offense legit. Sometimes like I don't think these motherfuckers is watching games, bro. Maybe I'm watching games too much and overlooking shit. I don't know. But I don't know what part of Baltimore's offense look any more high school than some of these other offenses. That's all I'm saying. However, Carolina, because we ain't talking about Baltimore right now, and we ain't talking about these dickheads on ESPN. Carolina should win this game. They better win this fucking game, or this probably is season over. You go and lose to the Giants, bro. Just go ahead and chalk your season up. I know it's early. Go ahead and chalk it up, bro, because you don't get to play and re-beat the Giants if you blow that game. All right, and that's gonna hunt you down in the long run. So I'm picking the Panthers to beat the Giants. That should not be a tough task for Carolina. Cincinnati, Baltimore, I'm gonna obviously break that one down on my other Quote the Raven podcast, but I did say I'm gonna start talking about it in this video just for the people who don't watch all the different videos. If they wanted to hear something about this one, then they will hear it in this video, but this one will be very short. I'm taking Baltimore to win it. I like Cincinnati. Obviously, I think their quarterback's great. I think their offense is good. I think the defense is good. This ain't the same Cincinnati we've been playing the last couple years. So I do think it's going to be a good game. I do think Baltimore going to end up winning this game at home. I think Wink Martindale will have a decent or to great game plan for Joe Burrow. But I'm taking Baltimore to win that one. And we move on to the next game. I told you that one was going to be short and sweet because it's a whole different video that's going to be dedicated to that game. So there's no point in wasting the time on here. But Philly, Vegas. I'm taking the Vegas Raiders to win this one. I'm glad they bounced back. after that shit dealing with John Gruden. I was thinking about making a video on John. I already got the video out, made. It's just depending on do I want to remake it and upload it. It's hard for me to give a lot of these ignorant motherfuckers the time of day nowadays. Everybody gonna be making videos about him, and maybe I should want to make a video to get that out there to get some of the clout off of that headline to get some people watching my perspective on it. But I don't know, man. It just too many people get that motherfucker too much shit right, too much media airtime right now, anyways. But I'm proud Derek Carr and them boys got it going last week, dog. You know, if you watch this channel, I love Derek Carr and Darren Waller. I'm glad they got that going. I think Eric Bieniemy should be the head coach of that team. I can't remember the name of the head coach they got right now. That's the dude who they got filling in as the temporary head coach. But Eric Bieniemy should definitely be number one on that list next year. You get Eric Bieniemy over there with Derek Carr and Waller and Ruggs and all them motherfuckers. I'm telling you, that would take that offense to another gear. See, I don't think John Gruden was doing an atrocious job with the team. I do think John Gruden had terrible ways to try to incorporate all the weapons. Now, you could say that Derek Carr just didn't spread the ball out, but I believe if you draw up better game plans to get some of these dudes open in space and shit like that, Derek Carr will get them the ball. So I believe Eric Bieniemy should be the next head coach of that team, or an offensive-minded dude should be the next head coach of that team, in my opinion. Now, like I said, I know people say John Gruden was, but John Gruden kind of had archaic, antiquated type of styles because he hadn't been in the game for so long. So I think the Raiders could, and I'm also taking the Raiders to win this game, but the Raiders can go places, I think, if they hire Eric Bieniemy. Or it could fall flat, and I could be completely fucking wrong, and you can tell me about it later. But the fucking Eagles, man. Jesus Christ. You know I like Jalen Hurts, and I said it multiple times. I do not think Jalen Hurts at this moment. At this very moment, it's very hard for me to see Philadelphia moving forward with Jalen Hurts after next year. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to see if they're going to continue to move forward with him this year. I mean, he's very inaccurate. Like, if you watch the game, I mean, if you watch any of their games, really, except for the one I think against the Chiefs, and even then he had a lot of bad plays against the Chiefs, but he did. The Chiefs, yeah, they got a bad defense, and most of the people that played against the Chiefs done have pretty good days. But, man, when the game, the way to judge a quarterback is what type of throws they making when the game matter and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? When every throw matter. Jalen Hurts overthrow a lot of throws, man. It was plays in that Tampa Bay game, and Tampa Bay got like the worst pass defense. If I'm remembering correctly from what they was saying on ESPN or on Fox. It was on one of them fucking networks. They was talking about the Bucks defense. But bro, if you go back and watch that game, it's so many receivers that Jalen Hurts should have hit for passes and completions. And he just overthrew almost every single one of them. Or it was an underthrow. And some of his underthrows actually led to pass interferences. Now, you can't bank on shit like that happening on a normal basis. But a lot of his throws was leading to pass interferences. Like the one on the sideline that the dude should have ended up catching, but he ended up dropping that one still. That's a pass interference that only happens because it's an underthrow. Because if he throw it where it's supposed to be, it's a touchdown. So Jalen Hurts definitely got to, and I don't know how you fix accuracy at this point, but yeah, the offense look atrocious, but I think a lot to do with that is Jalen Hurts just not nowhere near as accurate as you would want a starting quarterback to be. If Jalen Hurts can figure out a way to tame in that accuracy and to fix that, they got a better chance. But another problem is he want to run too much. Like, if his first read ain't open, Jalen Hurts damn near take off every time. And then he got this thing where he hold on to the ball way too long. Just way too long. And he don't sense that pressure coming from behind him and shit like that. And he going to end up getting hurt if he keep playing like right now, watching Jalen Hurts, I just don't see how the Eagles move forward or see him as their franchise quarterback. Very hard, just based off of what I'm seeing early. And the defense, what's funny about the Eagles defense, some people can say they bad, but the Eagles defense do have games where they can come to life, bruh. And I really think, and just let me get this smoke break in real fast. I really believe if the Eagles had a reliable defense, they would, a reliable offense that scored more points, that they would be a better defense. But, hey, you could only judge off of what you see and shit like that. But I'm definitely taking Jesus Christ. But I'm definitely taking Vegas to win this. I just think it's going to be too hard to try to keep. Because the thing is, the Eagles can't keep up with people who score a lot of points. If you put up 20 on the Eagles, you probably can beat them because the offense for the Eagles is just so complicated, right, for them to figure anything out right now with Jalen Hurts overthrowing, underthrowing, not throwing it on time, waiting for dudes to get wide open instead of throwing dudes open. Like, Jalen Hurts got a lot of problems, and I hope he can fix them. I like Jalen Hurts. But this is the same problems I was seeing from him in Alabama before Tua took over from him. Like, these are the exact same problems. So he didn't fix them at Oklahoma, in my opinion. And that's the thing. The best Oklahoma quarterback so far is Kyler Murray. And it's crazy to me that Kyler Murray is just a completely different quarterback than them two. But what's funny is Kyler Murray is very close to Jalen Hurts, except for he is what Jalen Hurts could be if Jalen Hurts actually figured this shit out. Like, Kyler Murray play a lot like Jalen Hurts at times, but he is so much better at throwing the ball, accuracy, getting his guys and shit like that, throwing guys open. And plus, the offense is very conducive to how they play and to how Kyler Murray plays at the Cardinals. See, I think what could really help Jalen Hurts mature and learn this stuff, because one of the problems is when you got an offense that ain't really conducive to your quarterback, all his flaws gonna show on top of that. If they put him in an offense where it was a run-heavy offense, went out, spent on a running back, because I believe if you put him in Cleveland's offense, he looked just as good as Baker Mayfield do at times. Probably better because he a more athletic player. He faster, so he could probably even look better in Cleveland's offense. That's the type of offense you got to put Jalen Hurts in. A lot of play action, a lot of the dink and dunk, a lot of the screens, a lot of the dig routes and stuff like that, so he can, get confidence as the game going on by hitting these little easy under 8-yard routes, and then boom, he might be able to beat you over the top eventually and hit one because the defense falling back and shit like that. So, it's pressing up too much and shit like that. So, I think that is how you could get the absolute most out of Jalen Hurts if you put him in that type of offense. But who knows what the fuck the Eagles gonna do, man. They hired Nick Sirianni. Nobody expected them to hire him and shit like that. So, I don't know. That's a funny situation over there, but it's going to be very hard for them to try to keep up with Vegas this weekend. And Vegas could lay a dud if the Eagles' defensive line, because the Eagles' defensive line is where I always go to give them the chance at winning games. If the defensive line wake up and go stupid, they could keep them in the game. But I think it's going to be very hard to win, especially with Vegas knowing what's in front of them right now. So I'm taking Vegas to win that game. And I don't really particularly think it's going to be too close. Next game, Detroit, LA, the Rams. You see it on the sidebar. The Rams, bro. Jared Goff returns home, quotations, to take on a team that let his bum ass go. Man, it's funny that people starting to see what I've been saying about Jared Goff, or they basically starting to say the exact same thing I've been saying. Basically, when you take the playbook away from him, you take the script, not the playbook, when you take away the script, those first 15 plays, when you take away when he gotta go off script, Jared Goff is a bad player, bro. And it is what it is, and a lot of people starting to see that. The head coach irritated with it more than likely. I don't know what made them trade Matthew Stafford. I also don't know why they was willing to trade Matthew Stafford but not willing to trade Calvin Johnson, because Calvin Johnson made it very clear one of the reasons he retired is because he was tired of losing. And he knew that they weren't going to trade him. And I think it's bullshit that a black athlete got to basically be vilified and looked at as a bad person when he won out of a situation. But, Matthew Stafford won out and they just let him. they traded him to where he wanted to go. Talked about him good on the way out and everything. So that's very interesting. But this ain't going to be a revenge game for Matthew Stafford. Analysts and whatnot have made it very clear that Matthew Stafford and the Lions love each other and all that bullshit. But, it's going to be a very funny revenge game for Jared Goff, seeing as how Jared Goff's not that good. So I don't really know much about what he's going to do to this defense. This defense probably going to blast them for making them lose that Super Bowl a couple years ago. I don't know. This is going to be a tough game for Jared Goff, though, man. I don't see them, the Lions, winning this game, obviously. They're undefeated. Their winless season will continue after this game is over. It's not... Like, the Lions' offense isn't good. The Lions' defense isn't great. Yeah, man. It's the Lions, bro. They're losing this game. Matthew Stafford is probably going to solidify why they chose to get him over Well, I mean, it don't really take much to see why they traded Jared Goff. Jared Goff's not a good quarterback, but yeah, it's gonna be fucking crazy. I think that the Lions could damn near get 50-piece this game. Like, that's how bad Sean McVay and them boys could beat them. Just as a welcome back home, you bitch, you. Like, this gonna be ugly for Jared Goff, but I'm taking the Rams. What if Jared Goff plays stupid? What if Jared Goff go crazy, bro? What if he return to LA and say, I still run this shit? What if he go nuts? I don't see it happening, but what? Hey, that should be hilarious to me. That would be hilarious. But I'm taking the Rams to win that game, man. That game gonna be in LA also. Oh, and the Philly game and the Vegas game and this game and the ones I'm seeing now, these are the 4 o'clock games. All them games I had talked about before, them games start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So just in case you wanted to know what time them games started. The next game is Houston. Damn, we're getting into some whack games. Houston, Arizona. Arizona should smack. Damn, these are games that's gonna make up the time, I guess. Arizona should blast Houston, right? Yeah. It feel like the only team in the NFL that's legitimately getting their asses whooped on a weekly basis is Houston. I mean, they had a good little competition against the Patriots, but against all the other teams, it feel like Houston just getting smacked around left and right. Like, so I don't know why that would change this week. Like, I don't know why this team wouldn't. I don't know why the Cardinals, the best team in football, wouldn't do the same. And I've been seeing a lot of people not wanting to say the Cardinals the best team in football, but they undefeated, bro. And I understand record ain't everything, but they've beaten good teams. They smacked the Rams. I don't really care about them beating the Browns because I don't think the Browns is a team that everybody tried to make them out to be in the offseason. But beating the Rams is a big win. That's a good team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why people don't believe in them. Well, I done heard people say, well, they don't finish good in the previous years. Well, motherfucker, they ain't made the playoffs in previous years. So if you're going off of them finishing and shit, that would be stupid because they've never made the playoffs. So every year is different. Like I say, to continuously judge, this clearly a different team, bro. But that's neither here nor there. This game don't need a ton of commentary. If the fucking Houston Texans beat the Cardinals in this game, then you can probably book the fucking Lions to lose because it ain't no way two miraculous things happening in one day. But I just don't see a way to victory for the Texans. Like, Murray could throw 5 picks and I still would pick them to win this fucking game. He could fumble the ball 3 times and I would still take them to win this game. It's just gonna be very hard for a team that's so undermanned with the Texans to win this game. And like I said, I really believe a lot of this that's happening to the Texans is not on just Deshaun Watson. The team sorely undervalued how much he didn't want to be there. They also, now you can say you can't plan for something like the sexual assault cases and shit, but you could have traded him before that even took place. They held firm because they believed that, no, we can make him change his mind, blah, blah, blah. Instead of just going ahead and making the team better. The same shit going on in the NBA with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this situation a little bit different because I think they straight up disrespected Ben Simmons. But anytime this type of situation happens where a star won't out, I'm always going to say, for one, you're not going to get equal value for the player. So if you go into a thing thinking that, you already done fucked yourself over. But I'm not going to keep a dude on my team who don't want to be there, poisoning my roster, because that don't do shit for my team. You see what I'm saying? So I would have been traded Deshaun Watson. I would have been traded Ben Simmons. I just not with I'm not with holding guys hostage, bro. I'm just not. And the more and more I see teams do it, the more and more I get that slave mentality type of thing where they basically saying, nah, man, you my property. I don't care if you don't like it here. I'm going to keep you. It's just hard for me to get with that, man. I'm really one of them people who say, if a player no longer wants to be with my organization or your organization, it does you no good to force him to stay there. It just don't. When has that ever worked out? Aside from Kobe Bryant. It hasn't. So, I just think the Texans need to move on from that situation, man. But I'm definitely taking the Cardinals to win that game. Chicago, Tampa Bay. Now, after this game, the next game I'm talking about is Sunday Night Football, I believe. But Tampa Bay should get it. This is going to be a better game than people think. I think everybody think this is about to be a blowout, but here's the thing. Yes, the Bears are offensively challenged. But the Bucs are defensively challenged at the moment. They were supposed to blow out the Eagles. They let a team that was offensively challenged stay in the game. So why do I believe the Bears won't be able to do it? I believe the Bears, after getting disrespected by Aaron Rodgers and the boys last week, will fight this week. And they beat Tom Brady last year, in the Bucs last year. So this could be Brady saying, I need that dub back. But it's going to be a closer game than people think. Because like I said, I say this all the time. The Bears defense is a real thing, people. Like, they're a good defense no matter how bad you think they playing or how average you think they playing, bro. That defense shows up more times than not. So I think the defense will keep them in the game. But I do think Tampa Bay and them boys going to win. Tampa Bay is a tough team to beat this year. I mean, you got to think. Tom Brady playing phenomenal. They got all the weapons in the world. The defense might be struggling, but when they get healthy, Vita Vea still is a monster in the middle. I did see Ndamukong Suh the other night, and I completely forgot that he played for that team because he just a tackler, run stopper now. He's not really the pass rusher or the force that he was in the beginning of his career when he was with bum-ass Detroit. A man who knew he had to get out of Detroit. Ooh, boy. But, yeah, so it's very hard for me to see. It's not going to be hard for me to see the Bears winning, but it is going to be tough because, like I said, Tampa Bay got so many fucking weapons, man. So many weapons. AB balling out. You know, you got Mike Evans, who always a problem. Chris Godwin. Lenny balling out. Like, the Tampa Bay look like they headed to another Super Bowl, man. But obviously, you don't get to a Super Bowl this early in the season. You got to keep playing the games. I respect all that. But I am taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game. And if I sound like I'm a little bit distracted or something like that, I'm not distracted. I'm just rolling this blunt, man. I'm just rolling this blunt and talking to y'all at the same time. But I'm definitely taking Tampa Bay to win that game. It's not going to be, I don't need to really talk too much about that game. I do think that game will be closer than a lot of people think. Because I think some people think that's about to be an ass whooping or something like that. And I just don't believe that to be the case. I think it's going to be a good game. Now, if the Bears come into this shit super challenged on offense, yeah, this will probably be a quick little poopity scoop, poopity scoop, scoop, poopity scoop, scoop. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So, now, of course, I could be wrong. But I hope I'm not. Last game of the show, of the podcast that we're going to be talking. Nope, no, it's not, because we got another one after this. But this one is the Sunday night game. Waiting all day for Sunday night. I don't know who's going to be waiting all day for this matchup specifically, but hey, Indy goes to San Fran. I think Jimmy Garoppolo back. I saw a report that said Jimmy G supposed to be back this week. So Jimmy G returns for the 49ers, and boy, do the 49ers realize how much they needed that motherfucker. He might be average. He might be, just a little bit above it, but boy, do he make a difference in that offense at the moment. But I'm definitely taking the 49ers to win it. For one, the 49ers have to win this game to get back on track. This team keep getting killed by injuries. I guess that just means they don't have good depth. But I'm taking the 49ers to win this game for the simple reason the Colts beat a bad team last week. I said it in the video. The Colts had to win that game last week. If the Colts lose that game, their season is over. Now, this is a more competent team. I still think they're going to lose. This team, see, for one, now, listen, it's not, I don't think it's going to be a blowout now like that. The Colts can win this game if Carson Wentz plays like an MVP. But I think it's going to be hard for him to do that against Kyle Shanahan and his team. Because, for one, I don't think they're going to have the ball a ton of time if Jimmy G is really back. Because now Kyle can go back to running his offense. And Jimmy G, if he ain't shit else, is good at running that offense. Yeah, he overthrow dudes and miss throws and shit like that. For the most part, he pretty decent at running that offense. So, I think the Colts defense is going to struggle stopping that team. The Colts' first great game, like you said, was last week. And the other team they beat was a bad team also. So very hard for me to see the Colts winning this game, especially having to go play in San Fran. It's just hard for me to see them winning that game. And I think Kyle Shanahan know how important this win is. The Rams keep winning. The Cardinals ain't lost. You lose this game, that could be the season. If you Kyle Shanahan. And the Kyle Shanahan, how many times have they made the playoffs? Because I can't remember at this moment, but I'm thinking it's like once or twice. And the one time they made it was they went all the way to the Super Bowl and blew it. But man, you got a lot of faith in Shanahan to keep missing the playoffs like this. And I know he got injuries and shit like that. And I'm not saying you fire Kyle Shanahan. He's a great coach. But they're going to have to find some players that can stay fucking healthy. Jason Verrett hurt. Like, man, they really got to figure a way to get some players in there that can stay healthy for a season. Because you see what Kyle Shanahan can do when he got a full roster available to him. But I think they get back on track this Sunday night. This actually might be a good game to watch, to be honest with you. And I think the 49ers have lost like 4 games or 3 games in a row, so they definitely need this dub, bro. They need this dub in the worst way. So I'm picking the 49ers to win this game. And the last game, now this is the last game of the podcast. I appreciate y'all for joining me, man, sticking with me through this whole podcast. Hey, if you make bets based off of these picks that I pick and I lose you some money or something like that, don't come back here and get mad at me, all right? That was not my money that I didn't tell you to bet that money, all right? So don't come back here mad at me. I'm just giving you my expertise breakdowns and shit like that from what I've watched and shit like that. If I'm wrong, which is very rare, because if I go back over all the picks that I made this season, I done had one really bad week, I believe. Other than that, I done got most of these picks right. But the last game of the week, the Saints take on Seattle on Monday Night Football. Now, I don't even think I'd be breaking down the Monday night games. Actually, yes, I do. The Seahawks gonna lose this game. They got Tyrod Taylor starting. I believe that the offensive playbook done started to be opened up a little bit more for Jameson when he threw for over 100 yards 2 weeks in a row. For over 200 yards 2 weeks in a row, I believe. The thing, I saw Taysom Hill get drilled the other day when he was running out for a pass. They really use that motherfucker for everything. But yo, the Seahawks. I saw a report that said that they might go sign Cam Newton. Now, I don't think they're going to do that because Pete Carroll's a bitch. What do you mean Pete Carroll's a bitch? Pete Carroll was talking about they was going to sign Colin Kaepernick. Then the bozo came out and said, oh, he's just too good to be a backup. After the man said he would be a backup. So Pete Carroll can say a lot of shit to y'all. How you feel and shit like that. But I done heard this and been around people for far too long to understand bullshit when I'm hearing it. To come out and say, oh, he's just too good to be a backup. Motherfucker, if he wants to be the backup and you still choose not to sign him, don't give me no bullshit like that. He can say all the sweet shit he wants to about Cam and how good Cam and shit is. If I will believe it when I see it when he signed him. So, and also, I don't know how Cam is still a free agent. You got all these other quarterbacks like Ryan Fitzpatrick. He ain't starting right now because he got hurt in the beginning of the season, but just think about this. Ryan Fitzpatrick done been a starter for the last couple years. He constantly get to be a starter. I mean, the motherfucker thought he should have stayed a starter over Tua, who was drafted to be the answer for that team. And he just keep getting chance after chance. Ryan Fitzpatrick blow every chance he get to get a team to the playoffs. Legit, like you could put it on repeat, and he get chance after chance. You saw them give Nate Peterman chance after chance. Like, I don't understand how some of these quarterbacks. Andy Dalton got chance after chance. Andy Dalton's height of his career wasn't better than Cam's. He ain't done the shit that Cam did. Neither has Fitzpatrick. Neither has Nate Peterman. Nate Peterman's not even a legitimate starter. Like, he wasn't even a routine starter that got multiple chances. The motherfucker started, had bad games, and kept getting it. Trevor Siemian had got opportunity. Now Trevor Siemian ain't in the league no more, but I'm just naming all the different quarterbacks that's gotten chances, or quarterbacks that's still in the league getting multiple chances. That's not better than Cam Newton. So you can't really explain to me why Cam Newton is at home on his couch or working out at a gym somewhere rather than playing football on Sundays. I don't understand it. I won't understand it. People can keep trying to tell me, oh, well, Cam has a big personality. That's exactly what I'm talking about when I say this league and these athletes are slaves and viewed as and you keep continuing to dehumanize athletes. Why should Cam Newton not have a personality? Why should he have to tone down his personality just to be a quarterback? Cam Newton ain't walking around disrespecting other quarterbacks, talking shit about people like Baker. He not taking shots at other teams and shit like that. Cam Newton legitimately minds his business and balls out when he gets the opportunity. You don't like him because he dressed flamboyant. Why? Because you can't afford to wear the shit that he wearing? I don't understand this hate that Cam Newton got coming his way, man. And then people get mad about his loss in the Super Bowl and how he acted. Why would I be happy I just lost a fucking Super Bowl? For one, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back to this point. It was hard to get here, and I just lost. How am I supposed to take that? I'm supposed to be happy about that? Like, that's, to me, that's crazy. And that's one of them situations is it better to have and lost, or better than not have it all? That's one of them situations where I would rather not get to the Super Bowl rather than get to the Super Bowl and lose. Ask Jim Kelly. That's all I'm saying. Ask fucking the logo of the NBA, Jerry West, how I feel to get to all them championships and lose every single one of them but one. Like, it's so I can sympathize or understand where Cam coming from. Like, what if you ever seen a happy loser? Then hey, God bless you, because I've never seen, or at least I don't want to see, happy losers. That's just crazy to me. So like I said, Pete Carroll's a bitch. He can stop saying shit about quarterbacks, because I know you're not gonna sign him, bro. We know Cam Newton would not end up being a starter ultimately over a Russell Wilson. You don't have to lie to us and say shit. Just tell us you're not going to sign him because you don't want it to be a confrontation when Russell comes back. Even though it shouldn't be one anyways, because even Cam would know, yeah, it don't matter how fucking good I'm playing. This is Russell Wilson's team. This is an opportunity for me to show teams that I can still play so I can get an opportunity elsewhere. But these bozo-ass head coaches and owners got all the different type of excuses in the world. Listen, they made excuses on why Terrell Owens shouldn't have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then these sick motherfuckers actually continued to hold him off for the first ballot. That's just absolutely insane that a bunch of pencil pushers who sit around not doing the half of the shit that these athletes do can view and say whatever the fuck they want about athletes and then shit on them at the end of their career and hold them back from achievements like that. First ballot would have been something big for T.O. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. T.O. is one of the greatest receivers to ever play in the NFL. You cannot tell the story of the NFL receivers in the NFL and not talk about Terrell Owens. It's just not possible. But you say that his antics in his locker room and shit that did not matter ultimately is what kept him off of the first ballot. But Randy Moss, who, like I said, I'll say this, and I'll say this multiple times as much as I have to when it come up. You shouldn't punish one other dude just based on how you mistakenly did another dude. So Randy Moss shouldn't miss first ballot honors just because they didn't give it to T.O., even though T.O. deserved it just as much as Randy Moss. But when we talk about some of the antics Randy Moss had in the league, come on, man. And y'all talk about T.O.? So that's just crazy to me. But because he got back into the media where all these white pencil pushers and shit, he could not really suck up to him, but they could start to like him more, basically. He got warm to white dudes. And then they gave him that nod. And I knew it was going to happen. T.O. didn't join the media and start kissing ass. But that's just how this shit goes, man. You play your whole career and shit like that, and then you got these bozos who ain't never played the game before getting to judge you on how good you was and shit like that. That's always gonna be wild to me, man. That's that slave mentality though that they got in all these sports and shit like that. The fans exhibit it also when they throwing shit at these fans and shit like that. I mean, just think about it. Back in the day, they had slaves, and when they wanted to get rid of the slaves, you had these white people basically saying, I mean, but look how much easier they make life for us, man. We need these slaves, man. We pay them good enough and blah blah blah. We give them a place to sleep, and that's exactly how y'all bozo ass fans sound when y'all going at these athletes for whatever these athletes choose to do, bro. Oh, well, we pay them, they get paid this much money, and they live a good life, and blah, bro. That's the problem. You are the problem, but that is a conversation for another day. I'm taking the Seahawks to lose that game on Sunday to get all the way back to that, because he went off on a tirade basically with Bozo Pete Carroll, who I will never forgive for costing my boy Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, and Marshawn Lynch another Super Bowl ring. They could have beat Brady and Peyton back to back, but Pete Carroll had other plans. But I'm taking the goodness gracious. I'm taking Jameis Winston in New Orleans to win that. My boy Jameis will come prepared. I'm gonna tell you what's funny. I was looking at this show this week. I didn't look at the whole show. I don't look at full sports shows no more. They talk too much stupid shit on a segment to segment basis. But Chris Broussard was talking about Jameis. He was like, Nick, you will rue the day that you doubted the dark horse MVP Jameis went. Like, that shit was hilarious. The fact that he kept a straight face while he was saying all that shit is what made it even funnier. Y'all gotta go check that out. But I appreciate you for listening. I appreciate you for joining me on this is the longest one so far. But I appreciate you for joining me on another breakdown, bro. On Kicking It with on Kicking It with Saint. I keep telling y'all my fucking name, and I'm getting pissed off that I keep slipping it. I should cut this part of the video out, but I'm too real to deal with that. So I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint podcast, man. I appreciate you so much for joining me. If you watching this during the day, afternoon, night, have a good whichever one of them fucking times of the day it is. Hey, and tell somebody you fuck with them, man. Saint out.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know there's these two words, and when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know. They know what happens next. So without further ado, free smoke. Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver, pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends, don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that.